was wonderful because I started a 6-week collage workshop. It was very exciting to see the talent in that class and being able to show others how I am doing collage and seeing how other people do collage. I always learn a lot from my participants. So it is time, though, this week to work on my own collage, and I'm glad you're joining me. I found that last week, working with a primary image that was black and white was extremely satisfying. This week, I have the benefit of 2 images that are the same that I believe will work their way into this collage. I'm not sure. I wasn't counting on them to be the focal point, but looking at the way things are going right now this way, they might be. We'll see. I want to have a lot of color to contrast with that black and white image. That was something that I shared with my participants in class this week, and I'm going to continue on with that in the second part of our workshop. That workshop is being hosted by the city of Monrovia, California. I'm very grateful to them and for the opportunity, again, to practice collage with others. And actually, some of the ephemera that I was using in class has worked its way into this video as well. I like having 2 primary images to play with. The more ephemera you have, the more choices you have, the more fun you will have making collage. Actually, here's something that I built in the class as an example. Kind of neat. I like it. Is it going to be in our collage today? Probably not. So I'm just going to remove, here's another one. So it's just some of the work that I did in class. Lots of fun. And kind of like what we do here on the channel, but more personal and more hands-on. So I'm going to just set these off to the side and take into consideration what I do have in my studio this week. I love the image of this woman. It is sensual, it is dreamy, and then I really like these twins. So I'm still in that thinking mode. Maybe take things in a different direction this week. I'm not sure. So when I'm not sure, I start cutting. I start cutting little pieces out and playing with them. And I think I'm going to commence with that. I'm a child of the 80s, and if any of you viewers are, I'd love to know. Do you guys remember these wonderful stickers you would get in the mail? These are from National Wildlife Federation. It's not a pitch for National Wildlife Federation. Nonetheless, I love wildlife. I love nature. So I don't mind if you are influenced by that. Wonderful illustrations on these little stickers. And these are fairly old. I would venture to say probably not from the 80s, but definitely the 90s or so. I mean, how awesome is that? These just little treasures that you can find in your travels as collagists. So I'm going to play with some of these too, just to, do some cutting and thinking. Cutting and thinking go hand in hand. I'd like to explain something here really quick. This is one of the reasons why I adore collage as a medium, the randomness of collage. This accidentally happened where I placed this cut image just over the eye. Initially I thought I wanted it here. I think maybe it might still appear there, but for some reason it lands here, and I thought that's where I want that flower to appear, to highlight this beautiful eye. And we have contrast. We have the pink background of the flower with the silver of the eyeshadow, of course, the luminosity of these beautiful eyes. So I'm always grateful when collage happens subconsciously for me and it does what it wants to do. Similar to watercolor painting, if you're a watercolorist, you know that the paintbrush and the water and the medium, they do what they want to do and you have little control. You have a lot of control with collage, but sometimes an accident happens, a really wonderful accident, and I have no qualm about going in other directions, as I often do and as I often explain in working with collage. Let yourself go. Have a great time with it by letting it choose for you. Sometimes the ephemera chooses for us. This is not a technique that is unique unto me. I did not invent it. But when you have these larger images you're working with, these large faces from magazines like W Magazine, which I love working with W Magazine. What I like to do when there's a lot of eye to work with, and we all love eyes, we just do as humans. I love to cut out the white part and replace it with something different, just to play around. It doesn't give me a lot of option there, that piece. This might. You want to do stuff like that with collage, and if you get that opportunity working with these larger images I was sharing with earlier, I don't think these images are going to make it in today's piece. It's a lot easier, say, than working with a smaller image. You want to play with the eyes some. It's always fun to play with eyes, just trying to find an eye image. In a magazine like this, the eyes are going to be much smaller, like this gentleman's eyes. So if I did the same technique here that I did here, it may not be as profound as it is with a larger image. So it's just something to think about, just a little trick I want to share with you. I can't remember. I know I saw it somewhere on Instagram with one of the people that I network on there. So again, it's not my invention. I wish it was. But it's something maybe for you to think about next time you are working with a big picture out of a magazine. I want to make sure these eyes are in exactly the same place that I found them. So what I'm going to do, with a piece of drafting tape that doesn't have too much adhesive on it, just enough to stick, because I don't want it to rip the ephemera either, I'm going to create like a little hinge. And this is where I'm going to try and slip my flower, because this is where my eye used to be. So I know the eye belongs here. Actually, I got a little wonky there. How did that happen? Let's try that again. Oh gosh, it totally moved. Okay. That's exactly where it belongs. Now I'm going to come in with my flower again. Let's see if we can be successful here. And lifting that. Yeah, the flower here is a little more, it's a little trickier than I thought. I don't know if I wanted it to cover. Okay. So it looks like the hinge will work in terms of where the eye is supposed to go. And that way I can go ahead and place my flower here. There's still some more cutting that I want to do though, so I think I'm going to hold off just a little bit. I can always return to this and decide, where I want to put the eye and figure out what I want to do next, but that's the direction I'm going. I know I wanted to do the background of this eye with that polka dotted color because that's probably going to work its way into the hair. And I'm trying to think about what I'm going to do with the rest of the model. I think I'm only going to use the head like I did last week also. So I'm going to commence cutting and figure out what my next plan of attack is. I want to make this a little more complex, so I'm taking it to that other level where I'm not really gluing down, but I'm making it so the ephemera looks like it belongs together and is connected. By doing that, I am making some very precise cuts with the X-Acto knife. And what I'm wanting to do is to tuck the eye into this lotus. Make sure we have some good cuts. They don't all have to go all the way through. You just follow the natural line of the image. And then I can come in and tuck this eye just so. Just a little bit. I don't want too much of it tucked in. Looks like I could make another cut here. Again, just following the natural line. I like following the natural line. If you obviously want to do your own line, go for it. Sometimes I do that. I create my own line. And I really think that's good. So it's kind of cradled in there. I think that'll work. So something like that. And if I don't like it, I can always go back to this. I'm not sure. Either way, it's fine because the cut doesn't hurt anything. I stayed with the natural line. I like it. So I might go back to that. And I originally was thinking about cutting the face out like I normally do with that silhouette and fill it in with something else. I'm not feeling that right now. There's going to be a lot of color with these polka dots, and I'm thinking of using these polka dots as the eyebrows instead of the original eyebrows. And I wanted to use the polka dots also, if you saw during the time lapse at the beginning of the video, as a background for the lips, just like this. So, still in the thinking stages, but starting to work towards, not completion, because I am still thinking about the twin images we have. I'm going to continue with the cutting. I feel like I want something here to delineate the polka dots from one another. More thinking to do. Sometimes I'm profoundly lazy and I don't want to wash my brush, so I just dab a bit of glue onto the end because I can peel it off later. I do this when I don't, well, number one, I do it when I'm lazy, but I also do it when I don't have a large area to cover with glue, which in this case was this little eye and the background of the little eye, that polka dotted background. So I can remove this adhesive, this draft tape, a little more challenging than I thought it would be. And also, I just want to point out, I went in a different direction. I thought I might be doing one of my silhouette images. That's why I cut out the eyebrows. Doesn't look like I'm really going to need those eyebrows, even though the polka dotted image fit very well when I was fixing the hair. but I wanted something to change it up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and use this image from those Wildlife Federation stamps. I just want to change it up with still with color, but with something a little more, something that would offer a little more contrast. So it's upside down, not the eye, but the image. I'm going to clean this up just a little bit, just to clean out those smooth out the edges. I see the white edges a lot because I have the benefit of being up close and personal with the work, and I hope to eliminate those as much as possible for myself and also for the viewer. So this eye belongs here, and I'm going to do that same hinge thing that I'm planning on doing with this eye. So I'm going to place that here, grab another piece of tape, and tuck in the ephemera behind it, because that's where I want it to go. Let's see, how's that going to work? Will that work? Is that what we want? Okay. Let's get back to time lapse and I can finish a lot faster for you. Trying to get that eye in the right place. So what I did was I made a cut that will not affect the image because it's going to get covered up by the eye. But this line, this cut that I made, it will indicate to me where I should put the eye because it's about the middle of the space that I want it to go. So that should work and will act as a guide. It's clean. I'm not messing with the image too much, actually not at all. And that looks okay. That doesn't look too bad to me. So I'm just going to go ahead and commit to the glue and get it down. I'm going to do my lazy gluing. I do have some packing tape on the back of this eye, so it's going to be a little glossy. I hope it will stick. I can always put it back later if we run into a problem. I'd like for the eye to go about here. Again, it's collage. If it's not exact, it's fine. It just adds to the surrealism of what the collage may or may not be conveying. Move that tape. Should be okay. I think it's going to adhere to it pretty well. Let's see, do I need any more tape back here? Now we're pretty good. Try to take it easy on the adhesive, just in general, just to keep things nice and clean. So here's the other eye. I may as well go ahead and commit it as well. I pasted the flower, the lotus flower, at the bottom of where the eye is supposed to go, so that will act as a guide for me. And that doesn't look too bad. I did think about tucking the eye in. I don't think I'm going to go there. So again, it's not really anything you probably can even see. I see it. I see the cut that I made, but it's not invasive. It didn't harm the image, so I can continue on. And again, if it's not exactly even, it's not a big deal. I'm not gonna worry about it. Like I said, I didn't do well in anatomy, and there's a reason for that. So I'm going to go ahead and commit the other little eye to its place. And we don't have any packing tape to worry about here, so I'm just going to go ahead and put the glue on. Not too much, because if I feel like I made a mistake or I don't like the way it looks, it's not difficult to change it. Yeah, that looks good. And that's the thing about collage too. We're using images from magazines. I know people have been concerned about copyright when you're working with this kind of imagery. But the thing is, we are deviating so much from the original image, you should be okay. It should not be a problem. So I cut these little stamps out. I had passed them out to my workshop crew, and I was looking at them again, and I might be using them in this collage. Kind of like the way that looks, because we have some nice compliments going on. I also had this one here. Don't know. Okay, anyway, that was something that I was thinking about and something I was going to go for. Then I'm going to go back to this. I'm not sure if I want that big a piece of this polka dot imagery. Do I or don't I? Not sure. And I may want something that's a little more jagged than this, although it too is pretty jagged. I got enough of the imagery to play with if I want to. I like that jagged look right here. You can even tilt it some. It doesn't have to be just super streamlined. In fact, it shouldn't be, because it's definitely we're playing with something here. I can be fairly liberal with this ephemera, because I don't think I'm going to use it again in this image. Maybe. And while I'm thinking, I'm just going to cut away some more white lines here. All right. It just happens with some ephemera, with some magazines and books. You make a nice clean cut to no fault of your own, but what happens is there's a white line because of the thickness of the paper. You're still going to see some bit of white line, and you just cut it away as much as you can. That's why I like to scan it later into Photoshop, not only to try and clean up those little lines, but they're just not highly noticeable when you scan it in. I just prefer that look more than anything. I do like the way this looks, but I'm just not sure about this piece. The other decision I decided to make was to keep this hand. I want to keep the hand, and in doing so, I want to cut away this part. So I want to keep the face and the hand. Let me go ahead and move that until I make a final decision with, get the presidents and Mr. Benjamin Franklin out of the way here. Put them off to the side, because I think they are going to make an appearance in this collage. So I am going to go ahead and make a nice cut here, so we have space. But the only part of this final image that's going to appear, the only part of this image that's going to appear in the collage will be the hands and her head. The rest of it I am removing. There we go. Nice clean cut there. It came right out. And go along the jawline. Now in this case, I do want to follow the exact part of the body line. The hand will still be connected, so I shouldn't have to worry about it too much. It's going to be connected to the face here. Cleaning up again. White line. Don't want that. Let's see. Try to get that out. All right, so all we have to do next is just cut this hand free. It shouldn't be too hard. I like maintaining that little bit of shadow that's created on the image. I do that because it can add interest to the other ephemera that I might be putting behind it, and that can give it more of a three-dimensional look. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Okay. See, removing this portion, to me, makes the collage way more interesting. I have freedom now to play with backgrounds, and I kind of like the way that is looking. Let's see, where are those lips? Yeah, here we go. So, a little scrap was hanging around. It's exactly what I wanted, exactly what I needed. I'm going to go ahead and commit it to the collage and use some packing tape on the back, the space where the lips were. And like with the eyes, I'm going to make that cut so it can act as a guide. So we're talking about, this is about the middle part, and it's okay because the collage, the part that's getting cut is going to get covered by the lips. So I know I can place my lips here, and it's going to be fairly accurate. Go ahead and get a little glue on the end of my paintbrush. paintbrush. Probably wouldn't hurt if I scored the backs of these tiny pieces of ephemera, because this magazine paper was fairly glossy. Okay, that's looking good. Make sure I get this up first. It was a little bit behind. Yeah, that looks really nice. I'm very happy with this so far. And where are my presidents? Because I have enough glue left on my paintbrush that I might want to put these presidents on here. I love the green. Wow, he's not a president. He was Ben Franklin. And Ben Franklin was not a president. There's Lincoln, and we have George. So I'm going to commit Ben to this eye. And these other presidents I will commit to the back. Now let's do some more work in time lapse. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I've been really drawn to predominantly black and white images as focal points. And I'm playing with this background as potential backdrop for this image. Alone, it looks fine. Does it generate a lot of interest? I think so. I think it's enough. But I have these two guys, and they might work as the background for this image. I have to cut them out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera. I'm going to cut them out, and I want to kind of put them together right here. So I was lucky enough, again, like I said, I got the same image and was able to, I got the same magazine, so I was able to collect the same image. So when we come back, I am going to have these guys cut out and see how I put them together. That didn't take too long. So here are the guys, and I'm connecting them right here at the arm. I guess if I wanted to, I could also connect them here. Is that going to be interesting? So they're kind of upside down. Playing here. No ideas yet. You are seeing ideas in progress, perhaps. I'm still drawn to using this. I thought about using it still as a background along the lines of this, perhaps. If I do it this way, I don't have enough, but I can always play with that in Photoshop and give it another color if I need to. Let me see if it works, first of all. Just playing right now. Off camera, I also took it upon myself to add the eyebrows back for our girl and also give her the flower that I intended initially to be on the side of the head, but I decided to go on the top. Not sure why. Oh, I think because I was wanting to make room for the cameraman. Kind of like paparazzi, looking for you. See, we have the camera lenses quite visible alongside with this guy. Kind of looks like he's hiding amongst the ephemera. Let's remove that. It looks like he's peering and taking the picture, maybe. And then this guy, on the bottom here. I have the background, and I'm wondering, really, do we need it? So let me try to remove it. And I also went ahead and started doing some hole punching with that main design color image. I don't know if I might scatter them throughout I'm not sure. Just to make things a little bit more cohesive. Not that it really would need it. It's just an option. Maybe. So maybe something like that, maybe. I'm really not sure yet. Anyway, back to the main question at hand. And do I want... Okay, I like this because it looks a bit more sneaky. Maybe, again, maybe something paparazzi-esque, focusing on the one eye with the hands, maybe. The trouble is down here with this image, what do I do about that? You can do the same thing and kind of hide it like that, and then remove the excess if necessary. I'm starting to like this. I think I like this. Okay, so I'm just going to commit, and then we might be done. Go into time lapse and put this all together. I think we're done. I used my trusty hole punch to remove those little dots of color, just to make it a bit more cohesive. Sometimes I'm not crazy about this technique because I feel it goes a little overboard, may even appear to be somewhat juvenile. It definitely offers a more playful quality, and I did want everything to seem cohesive together for the whole piece, somehow running its way through. I think it's okay. I might add a few more for the last image. I will be scanning it into Photoshop and giving it a background, something probably gray, probably along the lines of the black and white grayscale we have in the black and white images. So that's gonna be it for this week. I might show you my Photoshop progress. Let's see what we come up with, and I thank you again for joining me on this journey.